Hey everyone, welcome to my Shadowlands healer add-on guide. I've been getting a lot of questions about which add-ons I use. A lot of people have been asking if I use Healbot. I don't use Healbot, I use Grid and Clique, and I'm going to be going over those today. Those are the two main healer add-ons I use for raids and dungeons. Also, you should always have a meter as well. A good tool to have in your meter, just to go over it real quick, is overhealing. Overhealing is something you should look at to make sure that you're not wasting a lot of mana, because if you're getting a lot of overhealing, if let's say 20% of your healing is overhealing, that's pretty rough. You're wasting a lot of mana that you don't need to be wasting. So let's talk about Clique. That is a mouse over add-on that I use with Grid. So you can see that as I move my mouse onto my party frame, it's targeting me. Now the way that works is when I'm targeted on myself, I'm obviously selecting myself. You can see me lighting up. But if I'm not on it, it'll cast it on a target. So the reason you do this is, as an example, I've been playing my shaman, leveling my shaman to 60. I have wind shear. Wind shear is a interrupt, so I can be clicked on a mob that I'm gonna have to interrupt and still be healing my party. So I can be sitting here, and then when it's time to interrupt, I can just stop mousing over my party and go, okay, I got the interrupt. It's a lot faster than having to target through your party, so to have to click on someone, right? Instead of clicking party frames, you're just putting your mouse over and you're doing it. Healbot does the same thing. I like Clique and Grid a lot more, and I'll go into Grid pretty extensively because Grid is pretty cool, and I am on my druid so that I can mess around with Grid a lot and show you guys how it works. But the last thing you need to know about Clique is you can go into the Clique binding configuration right here in your spellbook as long as you have the add-on, and then it'll tell you here, and you can see I've done it many times. You just have to click which key you want that spell to be. So I'm picking Life Bloom a bunch here, and now my Life Bloom is bound to 1,000 times. So that's how you set up Clique. It's just a mouse over add-on. It lets you select your party members just by putting your mouse over them, and then it lets you cast your spells without having to click on them. You're just moused over them. So I actually wanted to mention one more cool thing that you can do with Clique. So in our spellbook, if we look here, I'll scroll down. I have regrowth set to my mouse button 5, which is this slot on my action bar here. So I'm going to show you something really cool that you can do when you have Clique that frees up a lot of action bar space. If you guys have used Grid and Clique, you obviously know what I'm going to do. So since I'm hitting mouse button 5 and I'm targeted over myself, it's casting regrowth on myself, right? So I'm casting regrowth, and the minute I stop mouse overing and I'm clicked on this target, I'm going to cast Wrath. So you can have 2 keybinds technically for 1 button, and that's going to do a lot for you. It's going to free up a lot of space. I'm starting to use this more on my shaman especially. I think I might transfer some more of my damage spells over to my Clique binds so that I can just regrowth and get all my heals off here on Clique, and then when I'm not on Clique, I can use my main buttons that I like to use, like my mouse buttons 1 through 6 for my damage abilities as well. So I just wanted to let you guys know that you have that utility using Clique, and I hope you take advantage of it because it's really useful. So the last thing we're going to go over is Grid. You can install Grid on Twitch right now still, but I believe it is going to Overwolf soon. They're just applications that will auto-install add-ons for you so that you don't have to manually install them yourself. So it's called Grid 2. I just call it Grid, but it is Grid 2. You can left click here. You can adjust where this is. So move it around, get it kind of out of the way while you're adjusting your party frames. The first thing we're going to look at is appearances. So you can adjust where it is horizontally, put it anywhere on the screen. You can adjust it vertically obviously as well. And again, I like to just put it right here because it's easy enough to keep your mouse centered and then be able to just move over to here and cast, like so you could be DPSing and then move your mouse over here real quick, get some spells off, go back to DPSing. Spacing is spacing around your grid. You don't really need that on. What it's going to do is it's just going to put all your rectangles here right next to each other, and that's how I like it. You can adjust the scale as well. I like to keep it about 150%, maybe 160. You're going to not want horizontal groups on. Horizontal groups would obviously put it across the screen like this. Keep it vertical right here next to your character model. You can adjust the width of the frame, and then you can adjust the height to whatever you would like. So I put it to 69, 70. So that's how you kind of adjust your grid. I wouldn't mess with anything else. I just leave it like this. It just identifies your every class by their color. It shows you their name, and then it's real close together. There's no borders, just nice and simple is how I like to keep my grid set up. The next thing we'll talk about is layouts. Just stay in the by group type and then set it to by role. If you're doing arena, I guess you can keep it as by group, but by role. And what that will do is it'll put the tank in the top slot, or 2 tanks if you're in a raid, and then it puts your healer or healers, and then it'll put your DPS, and it'll go down, go down, go down in raid. So it'll be like your 2 tanks, whatever, 3 healers, let's say, and then your DPS will snake through. So I would just set it to by roles so that you know where your tanks are, you know where your healers are, unless there's a situation where you need it to be by group, but I haven't really found a situation where I've needed it to be by group. The last thing we're going to talk about is indicators. This is why I like grid. It gives you a lot of information that as a healer helps you out so much. So you can pick these different sections of the box. So I have icon center. So it shows when someone has a raid debuff, it shows ready check, and then it'll show if someone's dead. So it'll show a skull right here when they die. But you can set it to have a buff. So when wild growth is on me, you'll see that it's here. And I also have wild growth turned on for bottom right corner bottom right. So you can see wild growth is there. Corner top left is going to be life bloom. So it tells you your life bloom is on this target for 15 more seconds. Corner top right is rejuve. And then top center is going to be my regrowth. And then let's just get another wild growth off so you can see. So you can see all your hots ticking. So if you're playing a priest, you can put your renew to be center here. I don't know if Echo of Light works. I don't believe it does, just because Echo of Light goes off so much. It might work, but for paladins, you can have your beacon be shown, who your beacon is. Obviously on the druid, you have all your hots. You can also tell a lot from the border that this will auto be set to border. It shows statuses, and then if someone is a target, so that would be they have aggro, it is gonna flash red around it. If they have a curse, it'll be purple. If they have a magic, it'll be blue around the edge. If they have poison, it'll be green, and then disease is like a golden yellow. And then this shows priority, these arrows right here. So if you have like multiple things on one, which really the border is already kind of set up well for you, but say for like certain dungeons where you need to get something off, you might want to have like a priority. So you might want to put like poison up at the top or whatever, but the border of each square is going to identify this for you. I think in my other videos you may have seen this already. There's probably been debuffs on people, and you can see that they turn blue or they turn purple when they have a curse on the border. But this is why grid is so helpful. So I can identify who has aggro by their square being red. I can identify when someone has a debuff on them. I can tell who has my hots on them. And that's really what I use grid for. This is kind of these two right here. It's the whole square. So heals incoming will show you how much you're gonna heal the target for, and then health just shows their health, and then it will go down vertically. So if I'm like at 1% health, my orange sliver would be right here. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. One thing that you might accidentally do is if you have multiple characters, and I don't fully know how to fix this, but you want to be set to the class you are. So I'm on a druid. If I change my profile, if I go into profiles and I change it to, let me see, here is my priest. So it changed to my priest, right? The indicators are going to be priest indicators. So it shows you the priest indicators in here. So you want to be set onto your profile. So that's happened to me a couple times. I'm like, oh, I'll throw a different profile on so I don't have to set up grid. And then you'll never be able to put anything on because it's saying that you're a priest. So make sure you're on your character's profile. So this is Hexel. He's a druid. We have it set up for a druid. It does all the druid buffs and hots. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I hope I explained it simply and easily. I just want you to know how to get it set up, what indicators are going to be useful. So the border shows all the debuffs on targets. It shows who has aggro when they flash red. And then you can use all of these to put your buffs on. And so like even things like this, text up, you can see people get when they're in a vehicle, when they're charmed, feign death, if they're just dead. Grid kind of sets itself up well right away with the debuffs and deaths and everything else, but it's up to you to kind of decide where you want to put your buffs. So you can see where they are and who's affected by them, and then hey, you know that hey, I don't need to put a rejuve on that person. That'd be a waste of mana. They have a rejuve on them. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I hope this helps out. I like using Clique and Grid over Healbot. I don't know if Healbot has upgraded over the last few years. If I need to check it out, I can check it out, but Clique and Grid are really smooth, really nice, and there's a lot of customization that I didn't even get into because it's pretty advanced and you don't really need to mess with it. But if you want to learn about it and mess with it, go for it. Anyways, have a nice day, everyone. Hope you enjoyed. Any questions, leave them in the comments, and make sure to go check out my Twitch stream. I'm going to be going live in about a week, I'd say. Once Mythic Pluses drop and the raid drops is when I plan to start streaming again. So you can see that on the screen. Go check that out. And don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed the video and you want more healer content and more WoW content in general.